John, if you don't mind, when I state your name, stand up and turn around so we can connect the face of the name. First, Alice Massini from WSAV. Professor Zephon Wilson, who's the Department Head of Political Science at Armstrong. Ms. Jane Smith from WTOC. Jeremiah Johnson from the Inkwell. And Mr. Tom Martin from Savannah Morning News. In addition, a very special thank you goes out to Mr. David Carson and President Blyken of Armstrong, who were so generous to let us use this facility for tonight's event. And certainly a very warm welcome to the people we all came here to see, the candidates seeking to be Savannah's next mayor. I'm going to introduce them to you at this time, and then I'll briefly go over the format for the evening. Then I'll shut up, let the candidates give their opening remarks, and then the panelists will begin with their questions. So we'll start over here, Mr. Floyd Adams. Mr. Ellis Cook. Mr. James Dewberry. Mr. Jeff Belzer. Ms. Edna Jackson. And Ms. Regina Thomas. Tonight's forum is going to be an equal time Q&A. Each panelist will be asking 2 questions over the course of 2 rounds. There will be 1 question per round, and we will start with the first panelist, Ms. Massini, asking her questions of the candidates going left to right, starting with Mr. Adams. She will then ask the questions of all the rest of the candidates. Then Professor Wilson will start with Mr. Cook, go all the way down, and end with Mr. Adams, so on and so forth, until all the panelists have asked all the candidates the question. All candidates will be answering the same panelist questions, and all candidates will be allowed 1 minute to respond to the question. A 30-second rebuttal will be allowed if requested by any candidate. Our timekeeper for the evening is Mr. Denton Hill, down in front. He is seated in the front row and will be keep track of all the response times. Candidates, after each question is asked, you will hold up a green card. That's due to response start time. A yellow card for the 30-second mark, and a red card to signify stop. We'd ask that we all please pay attention to the timekeeper and the card being held up. Now, after round 1 and before the beginning of round 2, I will make a reminder announcement to everyone that if anyone in the audience has a question they would like to ask any of the panelists, please write it on an index card and to either pass it to the end of the row or raise your hand and one of our volunteers will come and grab it for you, from you. We will then go through the cards, sort them out, distribute them to the panelists, and after round 2, the final round will be the panelists asking the audience submitted questions. After the last question round, each candidate will then be given an opportunity to address the audience with a 1-minute closing remark. So at this time, I will invite first Mr. Floyd Adams to give a 2-minute opening statement. Mr. Adams.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the Jaycee for having this forum this evening. But I decided to get into the race late. That doesn't mean anything because I got in late, because I looked at the disconnection within this community. I didn't like it. This city is in a state of emergency. And when I mean state of emergency, look at the crime rate. It's out of control. Look at the disconnection between the current leaders and the present citizens of this community. What do you have? A racial divide. If we're going to move this city forward, we must come together. And that's what I propose to do. Having served on city council, as alderman at large, and mayor, I know the system very well. I created an atmosphere of cooperation and respect for each other on city council, which resulted in tremendous progress and growth within this community. I will duplicate this process for the betterment of this community. But I also want you to think about 26% of the city lives in the poverty rate. There's no job creation programs in place for our young people in this community. No vocational or technical training other than Woodsville Tompkins School. What about the individuals who walk in the streets of this community? The dropout rates are tremendous in this community. We must address them. That's what leadership and visionary leadership can do. We've done it, and we will duplicate that for the betterment of every Savannah. I thank you very much.
I'm Ellis Cook, and I want to be your next mayor, and I'll tell you why. I served on city council for 16 years. 8 of those years was your mayor pro tem under my friend Floyd Adams when he was the mayor of Savannah. I currently serve on the Metropolitan Planning Commission and have been a commissioner for the past 3.5 years. I know what it means to serve, and I want to serve you as citizens of Savannah. I have 5 reasons. Well, these are my top 5 reasons why you should elect me as your next mayor. Number 1, I will restore the integrity and respect that other cities used to have for our city. The lack of transparency, the secret deals, payments to public officials, racist attitudes, and overseas junkets have caused our reputation to be tarnished. Number 2, I will declare Savannah open for business. I will streamline the permitting process and eliminate roadblocks that have impeded the growth of business in Savannah. I will restore funding and staffing to the departments of tourism and film. I will create a small business task force to oversee these and other improvements related to business. Number 3, I will take a 15% pay cut the first year in office, and I will decline the yearly $12,000 car allowance because I have a truck that's already paid for. I don't need another car. We can use that money elsewhere. Number 4, I pledge to deliver a state-of-the-art police headquarters as my first priority. To make our city a safer place for all our citizens and tourists. I will restore neighborhood policing efforts, and I will ensure that our police and fire professionals receive the pay that is commensurate with their responsibilities. Number 5, I will be a true public servant. I know what it means to serve you, the citizens, not the other way around as this city council has done. I will demand the same from all our council members and all city employees. In closing, I want to urge you to use your head and your heart when you go to the polls and vote for the candidate who will best represent our city. I'm Ellis Cook. I want your vote, and I thank you for joining me this evening.
Good evening. I'm James Dewberry, and I'm a local native Savannian. I really appreciate this opportunity to be with you tonight. Thank you for coming out and getting involved in your community. By me running for mayor, that's exactly what I'm offering to you, is to get involved in this community, more involved. You can see all of the career politicians have sat beside me. I am the outsider. I've never held elected office, and I think that's a big problem with the way things are done around here. People have gotten too comfortable for too long. What we have is an establishment right here. Combined, these folks, the number of years they've served the public, it adds up to 257 years. These folks will tell you we have 26% poverty, 10% unemployment. They'll avoid problems like the $75 million parking garage we have downtown, a $20 million judgment against the city. They won't tell you where the money will come from to pay those judgments to out-of-town contractors and how business unfriendly that is. My question is, what programs will we shift funds from to finance our judgments against us? Also, bonds that have been sold and the money still sits in the bank. Will it be assistance to the homeless? Will it be assistance to battered women and children? Will it be for assistance to the children currently living in poverty? I've assembled a group of numbers, and it adds up to $300 million that's been squandered, to my knowledge, after a brief look at the last 8 years of this administration. I'm the candidate that will speak out against taxpayer abuse and put your money to work, your tax dollars to work, for the betterment of the city of Savannah. Take a look at the website, dewberryformayor.com. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank the Savannah Jaycees for having us tonight. I want to thank President Blyken from Armstrong, our distinguished panelists. I thank you as well, and members of the audience, as well as I see colleagues of ours up in the upper deck of the audience. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jeff Elser. I currently serve as your Alderman at Large. Our bios are printed on the back, and so I won't delve into that. But I want to start out very straightforward with you and tell you that I too want to be your mayor, but I'm not a member of the status quo. If you look on your Jaycee's pamphlet, and by the way, I was a Jaycee's back in 1987, the Jaycees are changing the status quo, taking drive and determination. Those are characteristics of Jaycee's. Drive and determination are characteristics of Jeff Elser. It says Jaycees are turning their energies toward making a difference in the affairs of government. My vision is one of a just Savannah. The J stands for job creation. The U stands for a unification of the races. The S, a safer Savannah. It must be attained. And T, restoring trust in elected officials. I have never voted to raise your millage rate. I have never taken a trip outside of the United States funded by you, the taxpayers, and I have always voted for and been in favor of open and accountable government, and I too have tried to hold and will hold as your mayor the office of the city attorney accountable, because the legal arm of the city and the mayor and the council stops at the city attorney's office. We will reform and we will change, but most importantly of all, we will move forward and have a just Savannah under Mayor Felser. I urge you to join me and vote for myself, Jeff Felser, and let's move Savannah forward. Let's do it together. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Let me also thank you for coming out this evening and for the Jaycees having this forum here today. I am Edna Jackson. I presently serve as Alderman at Large and Mayor Pro Tem. I am really interested in job creation here in our city. The economy all over the United States is at a very low ebb, and we need to seek out ways of how we're going to bring jobs. And we must have a connection, our linkage, with forms of other governments in our community, as well as businesses in the community. And I feel that I'm the person that will work together with our large and small businesses, as well as our boards of education, to create jobs. There is a need for continued revitalization of our downtown area and our inner city area, particularly to bring affordable housing. Here we just opened up a section over on the extreme east side of town, and also to continue the drainage projects that we have and we've been able to do with the 1% sales tax at no increase to our tax base. Crime is definitely a problem here in this community as it stands now, and it is because of the economy and other issues that we have. But I think we should expand on our impact program, as well as getting our parents and our children talking with each other to see how we can eliminate some of the crime that we're experiencing, and our elderly people are definitely afraid of even coming out of their house. Communications is very important to me, and I do feel that as mayor of the city, I have the ability of getting people to talk with each other and to work together, to work as a team building. Savannah must move forward, and I would hope that you would select me as your mayor to move the city forward. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Regina Thomas. I'm a candidate for mayor, and I would like to be your next mayor. I've been married for 38 years to a retired policeman and a Vietnam veteran. We have 4 children, 8 grandchildren, and 1 great-granddaughter.